Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Thursday. Beautiful fall day today.
It is perfect on a Friday Eve, and it's almost homecoming on campus. Big weekend in Madison.
Amy Fink will be along to preview what's going on this weekend in the 608. But first, here's what's making news on this Thursday. Volunteers search by foot, looking for any evidence connected to the missing Barron, Wisconsin teenager.
The tech giant Foxconn recruits on the UW campus.
And the president now says he believes the missing journalist is dead.
Let's take a look outside today. As Mark said, a beautiful fall day today. Not too cold, brilliant sunshine.
Just perfect. A little windy at the end of the day, but yeah.
Oh, that's a
the
great
mums
shot.
are out. Great weather. Chances for showers, however. Dana is in the backyard with a look at our forecast. Not bad today, though.
Not bad today at all. It's hard to even think about any sort of rain chances when we have the sunshine, and it's so nice outside. Indeed, a beautiful fall day. Doppler track doesn't have any rain near us currently, but I promise if we can fast forward just about 12 hours, we'll be talking about some light showers starting to move in tomorrow morning. But we have had quite a mellow Thursday. And we're going to continue to be mellow for the next few hours. Temperature-wise, we're close to average at 58 in Madison, closer to 61 in Janesville, and 60 in Lone Rock right now. Quite a jump in the last 24 hours. Just a light jacket needed for me right now. 8 degrees for us, warmer in Madison. About 11 degrees warmer, though, in Mineral Point this evening. This breeze coming from the southwest now, so it is that warmer air moving on in. And you'll certainly notice it, about 12 miles per hour in Madison and in Mineral Point right now. No major wind gusts. Just a little breezy outside. As we look forward to tomorrow, we are expecting similar temperatures, but notice in the morning we are going to include a little rain creeping back into the forecast. Unfortunately, those rain chances may linger into part of the weekend. We'll take a closer look at that forecast in just a few minutes. Right now, I want to bounce on the roadways, see what's going on with our first alert traffic update. Much of Dane County seems to be okay. We do have one little incident along the belt line there, 12 and 18 east. It's right after the exit at Rimrock Road. It looks like the shoulder at this time is just backed up, but still, of course, want to be cautious if there are any extra cars blocking the shoulder there. 19 westbound, right at 39. Also a little accident there, the westbound side. Again, sounds like it's blocking the shoulder. Still may have a little bit of a cleanup for the roadways. Beltline, a little slow for this time. Seeing a lot of red there, but drive times all look pretty good. Janesville to the Beltline just take you 28 minutes. Same goes for the Beltline back to Janesville, and Sun Prairie to downtown about an 18-minute drive. So no major incidents to report, just those two again that seem to be on the shoulder right now. But yes, the sunshine, enjoy it this evening because we are going to talk about some shower chances for your morning commute.
Not a lot of rain to worry about.
No, not a washout, just some light rain.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes, Dana. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. First at 4, the search for a missing Wisconsin teen enters its 4th day.
13-year-old Jamie Kloss has been missing from her northwest Wisconsin home since early Monday. Her parents were found dead of gunshot wounds inside the home. Eric Franke joins us with the latest details on the case from the newsroom. Eric?
Mark and Susan, law enforcement officials in Barron County continue to look for Jamie, following up on hundreds of tips. This afternoon, the Barron County Sheriff's Office, for the first time, asked for 100 community volunteers. They're asking them to report to this travel plaza on the east side of Barron to help them out with a, quote, routine search for articles of evidentiary value that may be related to this incident. They were asking for able-bodied volunteers who could handle some uneven terrain. Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald earlier asked for homeowners to walk around their properties to look for any signs of Jamie. Last night, there was a town hall discussion for community members to voice their concerns and hear from law enforcement at a local community college. For Jamie's relatives, as you can imagine, this has been a particularly difficult few days.
You see it on TV, you read about it, you see it on Facebook, but it doesn't happen to you down here, and all of a sudden when it happens, it's just so close that it really hurts.
Yesterday, the autopsy results were shared with the public on Jamie's parents, 56-year-old James Kloss, 46-year-old Denise Kloss. Both were shot to death. No weapon was found in that home. Authorities say they believe Jamie was there at the time of the shooting, but they say she has been ruled out as a suspect. Now, again, Jamie, 5 feet tall, about 100 pounds, green eyes, blonde hair. More than 400 tips now have come in from all around the country. Anyone who has any information about Jamie's whereabouts is asked to call 911, or they can call the Barron County Sheriff's Office. That number there is on your screen. It's area code 715-537-3106. Mark, Susan?
Eric Franke live in the newsroom. Thanks for the update.
You're welcome.
Federal help with flood recovery could be on its way to Wisconsin. President Trump approved a federal disaster declaration for Wisconsin today. This clears the way for federal financial assistance for the flooding and tornadoes late this summer for public spaces. Assistance can include grants for temporary housing and home repairs, low-cost loans to cover uninsured property losses, and other programs to help individuals and business owners recover from the effects of the disaster.
A fourth former cabinet secretary in Governor Scott Walker's administration is speaking out against the Republican incumbent. Paul Jaden is a former mayor of Green Bay and was the first secretary of Walker's Economic Development Agency. He said today Tony Evers should be elected. Jaden says that he quit his $208,000 a year job at the Madison Regional Economic Partnership so he could comment freely. And Walker and Evers face off in their first debate tomorrow night. You can watch it live right here on Channel 3 at 8 o'clock. Our political reporter Jessica Arp will be part of the panel in the debate, sponsored by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association. It is Foxconn Day at UW-Madison.
Students and staff are getting a taste of what the company has to offer with the news this fall of a research partnership between the two organizations. News 3's Rose Schmidt is here to explain. Rose?
That's right. Well, Foxconn announced it plans to invest $100 million in UW-Madison back in August. That's one of the largest gifts in university history. But today, the Taiwanese tech company hosted a job fair where students could learn more about what that partnership has to offer. They got to explore interactives and make connections with recruiters. Foxconn is one of the largest technology companies in the world, and it chose our state for its first plant outside of Asia after the state gave the company a large incentive package. University leaders hope Foxconn will provide lasting opportunities for students and staff here.
In our view, a great research university plus a great global technology company equals tremendous opportunities for economic development, not just for the university, but again for the whole state.
We spoke with a computer engineering student hoping to break into the field and land an internship with Foxconn. You can hear from him on News 3 at 5. Now, part of the partnership between the university and Foxconn is a research institute based in Racine County with an off-campus presence in Madison. The university will also build a new facility on the engineering quad, but the timeline of that is still unknown, but a lot of excitement around this.
Yeah, a lot going on. All right, Rose, thank you.
Thank you, Rose. President Trump says the consequences for the Saudis will be very severe if their government is linked to the murder of U.S. resident Jamal Khashoggi. Angelica Alvarez has more details from the White House.
President Trump says it now appears Washington Post contributor Jamal Khashoggi is dead.
It certainly looks that way to me. It's very sad. Certainly looks that way.
Khashoggi was last seen entering the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey on October 2nd. Both the Saudis and Turks say they will be wrapping up investigations into his disappearance soon.
At which point we can make decisions about how or if the United States should respond to the incident surrounding Mr. Khashoggi.
Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin tweeted that he, along with President Trump and Secretary Pompeo, has decided against participating in an upcoming business summit in Saudi Arabia.
Jamal Khashoggi had become an outspoken critic of the Saudi government, and freedom of the press was the topic of his last known piece of writing, which was published in the Washington Post this morning.
Khashoggi wrote, Arab governments have been given free rein to continue silencing the media at an increasing rate. He added, the Arab world is facing its own version of an Iron Curtain, imposed by not external actors, but through domestic forces vying for power.
It's a chilling reminder to everyone, to the world, that speaking the truth can come at the ultimate price.
Saudi leaders deny any knowledge of what happened to Khashoggi. Angelica Alvarez for WISC News 3.
The New York Times reports that American intelligence officials have growing evidence that Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was involved in Khashoggi's disappearance.
A caravan of migrants fleeing Honduras has grown to nearly 4,000, and pressure is turning to Mexico. Part of the caravan, which is split into two groups, is approaching the Mexico-Guatemala border. President Trump today threatened to close the U.S.-Mexico border if authorities fail to stop the caravan, a move move that would disrupt hundreds of thousands of legal freight vehicles and pedestrian crossings each day. The initial group set off from Honduras last Friday, seeking refuge in the U.S. from poverty and violence in their country.
A school shooting and bomb attack in Russia-annexed Crimea is being dubbed Russia's Columbine. 21 people were killed when an 18-year-old gunman opened fire on students at a technical college before turning the gun on himself. The gunman set off a homemade bomb on campus before he started shooting. Investigators say the motive is unclear, and they're looking into whether he had an accomplice.
Well, the Milwaukee Brewers may have lost Game 5 last night in the National League Championship Series, but Milwaukee fans were able to ease the pain with free hamburgers today. George Webb made good on its 12-in-a-row win promise to give away free hamburgers. The 12-in-a-row proclamation dates back to the 1940s when George Webb himself said he would grill free hamburgers for fans if the team won 12 games in a row. It happened once, again in 1987, and now in 2018 it's finally happening again after the playoff win in Colorado a week ago. In 1987, they gave away 170,000 burgers. No word yet on how many they are giving away today. Most of the George Webb restaurants are in Milwaukee.
They're good on their word.
And they're good hamburgers, too.
That's cool.
Well, still to come at 4, it is Friday Eve, as we like to call it around here.
When we come back, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, Emmy Think has some suggestions. Homecoming is one of them on the UW-Madison campus. Weekend 608 is coming up next.
Well, experts are warning parents against using cardboard baby boxes as an alternative to cribs and bassinets, raising doubt about their safety.
The boxes have gained popularity because of their availability to low-income families. Also, some doctors claim the design could lower infant mortality rates. A letter published by the British Medical Journal disputes all of those claims. Experts say some of the boxes may potentially be flammable and do not allow parents to easily observe their children when sleeping.
Never heard of such a thing. Well, investors concerned about mounting worries over Saudi Arabia triggered a big sell-off on Wall Street. The Dow Industrials fell 327 points, closing at 25,379. The NASDAQ Composite Index dropped 157. The S&P 500 was off 40. And it is almost the weekend in the 608.
Emmy Fink is back with us this Thursday with Weekend 608. Hi, Emmy. You ready for homecoming?
Got you a Badger.
Got my Badger decal. You know, I bought these for our daughter, and as I was leaving the house, she's like, "No, Mama, the Bucky's mine." And I'm like, "Okay, you can have one when I get home."
Oh, buddy, she's so cute. We'll get to homecoming in just a second.
Right.
But let's start with something that you'd feel really good about supporting.
Totally. So tonight, Survive Live is a breast cancer awareness benefit concert, and it takes place at the High Noon Saloon tonight. It benefits the Susan G. Komen Foundation, and headlining tonight's event is the Plain White Tees. Who's going to sing with me? Hey there, Delilah.
I have no idea what you're singing.
You don't know that song? What's it like in New York City?
Do you know this song?
I think you know the song.
I don't know.
He is just playing coy.
I don't know.
All right, it's a great band. You either like the song or you don't. Anyway.
Or know it or not.
Well, you know, or you live under a rock like Mark because he works too much.
I don't get out much.
They were friends from Illinois, high school friends, and they put this band together. Well, they just released their new album, Parallel Universe, and the Plain White Tees. You can see them tonight starting at 7 o'clock.
All for a good cause.
All for a great cause. You got it.
Now, here's a name I know.
And you know what? I didn't know him, so, you know, I live under a rock, too. Bruce Hornsby, a singer, songwriter, a pianist, and a 3-time Grammy Award winner, performs with his band, The Noisemakers, tonight at 7:30. That takes place at Shannon Hall in the Memorial Union. He's done it all, which is why Mark's heard of him. Rock, jazz, Motown, gospel music, everything. And all the proceeds from the concert go to Success Works, which is a career readiness program for graduates of the UW-Madison College and Letters of Science. So another great reason.
That's just the way it goes.
I mean, I like it. I'll pretend I know it.
See this?
Everybody's saying
That one I
Everybody
know.
knows it back there.
They know it.
See, if we could just, you know.
What was the other one?
Hey there, Delilah. What's it like in New York City?
All right, let's move along. Let's go to Stoughton.
All right, we'll see what it's like in Stoughton, because you can see another talented musician there Friday night at the Stoughton Opera House. Now, Bate Levette, what a name. She has performed with Otis Redding and James Brown, and she's had a lot of success from her 2005 album, where she's covered a lot of songs by a number of famous female artists. And since then, she's actually recreated the work of the Beatles, Pink Floyd, and Bob Dylan. So that's Friday night, Stoughton Opera House at 7:30.
Interesting.
Now, you know Stairway to Heaven, of course, Mark, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, so you know who sings that.
Do you want to sing that one?
Led Zeppelin. You know, when I was doing radio, and well, go ahead.
No,
don't tell us.
No, don't stop a good story.
Do this first, then I'll tell you the story.
All right,
Okay.
so if you want to hear a little Led Zeppelin, well, you can get the Lead out, because that is a Led Zeppelin cover band from Philadelphia, and they're going to recreate the legendary music of the blues-influenced mystical rock band. This one is Sunday night at 7:30 at the Orpheum.
Okay,
Now I want to hear your
It
story.
was station policy when I was in college. You had to play the entire thing at 11 o'clock at night, the whole Stairway to Heaven.
How long is
Every
it?
night at 11?
Yeah.
It's long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, how long is it?
7 minutes,
Oh,
right?
no, it's the whole album side.
Oh, the whole album?
Yes.
What?
I don't
What,
know.
did you take a long coffee break at 11?
It was a closed circuit. It wasn't on the air.
Wow.
Speaking of the UW, it's where I went to
I
school.
was really torn whether or not to wear red for UW, and I almost threw a Brewers jersey over it. I'll be
there you
real
go.
honest, because the Brewers need some help too.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, it's homecoming on the UW campus, and the tradition started back 1911. It's been going on, you guys. The homecoming parade starts at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. That's at the corner of State and Gilman, followed by a huge block party at Memorial Union and Alumni Park. A lot of familiar faces. And the Badgers, of course, wouldn't be homecoming without a football game.
Yeah.
So 11 o'clock, they take on Illinois. Go, Bucky,
be a fun
go.
weekend. Yeah. Really fun weekend.
Really fun weekend. And let's just hope the Brewers pull it out tomorrow. I've lost so much sleep this week, staying up till 1:30 watching baseball. The whole thing.
Well, go Brewers.
Yeah, I know.
Go Bucks.
Brewers.
Crossed,
I'm a
yes.
little
Go
nervous.
Get this month's Madison magazine for all the best in the Madison area.
Good
Speaking
job,
of
Abby. Good to see you.
staying up too late, that can lead to consequences the next day.
Specifically, problems on the job.
Are you feeling tired at work today? I'm Hillary Lang with more on how being drowsy on the job can lead to costly mistakes.
Take a look at this. The Oregon Zoo released some super cool, creepy animal x-rays just in time for Halloween. The x-rays were taken during routine checkups at the zoo's veterinary center. Featured in the images, coming up as a ball python. Look at that. A Rodriguez flying fox. I don't know how you get an x-ray of a flying fox.
Wow.
Inside, look at a beaver's tail. And then everybody's favorite, a chameleon.
That is so cool.
That's really neat.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Very cool. Today is Thursday, October 18th. It is National Get Smart About Credit Day.
Do you do the bills?
I do.
I do too.
Get smart.
Yes.
All right, it's also National No Beard Day. Even if you're clean shaven, great. Otherwise, shave it off. Before No Shave November starts,
right.
you can then grow it back. I tried to talk Vern, our 10 o'clock producer, to shave it off, and he said no.
Nope.
So no? Oh, man. All right, it's also National Cupcake Day.
Chocolate cupcake.
Chocolate Cupcake Day, sorry. Chocolate. They're the best kind of cupcakes, right?
Yeah.
Cupcakes can be
look who's
traced
coming.
all the way back to 1796.
It's Cheryl Merrill.
Hey!
I come bearing cupcakes.
Mini cupcakes.
And prunes. if you
Leftover.
want.
How did they survive yesterday?
Here.
Well, these are very cute.
They're colored. Oh, they even have fall-themed sprinkles.
Thank you very much.
I haven't had my 4 to 8 yet for today.
If you weren't with us yesterday, it was National Prune Day, and she comes tearing out of here.
You know, I was logging over there, and I just happened to take my earbuds out, and I heard prunes. And so I came here, I was like, you had a bag of prunes, so I had to...
We learned something about Charlotte yesterday. When you were a kid, tell the story about when you were little.
My mom could not keep prunes in the house because she caught me in the closet with a canister of prunes, just popping them like they were candy. So
that's right. They used to come in cans.
But they still do.
Oh, they still do.
Oh,
They still do. Yeah. So I can't keep them in the house because
well,
we can bring them in every once in a while for you.
Yes, and I will still take them from all of them.
Mark the calendar for next year. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you for the cupcakes.
Anytime.
Yes.
You want one of these? No.
I'm going to take one of those too.
Right.
There you go.
Go ahead.
This is going to be a daily segment, Treats with Charlotte.
I like it. It's a good idea.
All right. The weather.
The weather, go
That's what
ahead.
you're here for,
Cupcake
right?
time. That's right.
Okay.
Forecast-wise, we're looking at a nice evening, but some showers possible as we head into tomorrow. We'll take a look at your forecast right after the break.
They're good.
So we had a new study just released, published today in the Journal of Climate and Atmospheric Science, all about Tornado Alley. And this new study actually has analyzed research from about 79 to 2017 about where tornadoes are in the U.S. Now, when we talk about Tornado Alley, this is the area that we typically define as Tornado Alley, and that little blob there from NOAA as of 2010. The thing is, as we look at our tornado data over the last several years, again, from 1979 all the way until about 2017, it seems like things have shifted just a little bit. In fact, much of Texas has seen a decrease in their tornado activity during that time period, while to the east of that area, again, creeping a little closer to a higher population, a few more people, they've seen a bit of an increase. The important note here, though, we're not talking about an increase by tens or even hundreds of tornadoes per year. Just right now, it looks almost like a half, maybe one or two more tornadoes per year in these areas. But still, when we're looking, that's the area that should be seeing the most tornadoes. It still is, but we're watching a frequency drive up to the east and a decrease to an area that usually sees quite a few in Texas. For those of you wondering, yes, Wisconsin has seen a little bit of an increase for us in the last several decades, but it's still just a minor increase for us at this time. So that climatological data always coming in, something that we like to analyze and look at because it can help us build our forecasts even on the day-to-day basis to see how patterns are changing with our climate over the last few decades. Overall, today has been mellow and calm. Not a whole lot of changes for our Thursday forecast. Sunshine and no rain concerns for us right now. Our Doppler track's been pretty mellow throughout central and southern Wisconsin. Temperature-wise, we're close to 58 in Madison and Monroe, about 61 in Janesville, same in Mineral Point, with a bit of a breeze coming from the south-southwest. So that warmer air is coming in. You may not need the jacket if you're outside in the sun. About 12 miles per hour in Madison, closer to 14 towards Monroe. In the last 24 hours, we have jumped just a little bit. About 8 degrees towards Madison, about 10 degrees, though, in the Dells. So it's been a little bit of a warm up in the last few hours, just in the last 24 hours for us. Our high pressure now centered over Indiana. We have a warm front off to the north. Our next weather maker, though, is going to be driving towards us tomorrow, passing through Friday night, bringing some showers throughout much of the Midwest. That cold front, again, continues east and is going to cool us down as we head into the weekend and towards Sunday. So breaking down that time here, we stay clear for much of the evening. Overnight, though, our clouds will build in. We're looking at a cloudy sky to start off tomorrow with some light shower chances throughout the morning. You may need the windshield wiper blades early in the morning. I know trout season just wrapped up, but duck season's just getting started. If anyone's heading out, do understand it's going to be raining a little bit very early in the morning, but just some isolated shower spots. We'll stay cloudy into the early afternoon, but we will get some opportunities for some sunshine later on in your Friday. Heading into Saturday, though, notice we have a variable cloudy sky for us. A little bit of sun mixed on in there, and our precip chances, especially north of Madison, may include a few flurries. Doesn't look like much of it is going to make it down our way, but not ruling out the chance to see a snowflake or two during the morning or even early afternoon on Saturday before all of that moisture continues on east. We clear up and cool down quite a bit Saturday night as we head into Sunday. Of course, Saturday, we have a very big game. Camp Randall will be at 40 degrees at kickoff when toe touches leather. A little breezy and a little colder for us, and we do have the chance again for a few raindrops and some flurries. Temperature-wise, we'll be hovering into the mid-40s or mid to low 40s by the end of the game in that fifth quarter. Overall, right now we have sunshine. It's going to be a very pleasant evening for us. 58 was our high today, right where we should be. A perfect fall day, you could say. No big changes for this evening. As far as the next few hours, it's not until early tomorrow morning that we have the chances for some showers to come back in. 43 degrees our overnight low, 57 for your Friday. Already almost Friday. A little breezy, but still fairly pleasant. Again, those shower chances early. We may have that bit of a mix as we head towards Saturday, especially north of Madison. Overnight lows won't drop too much tonight or Friday night, but then we're back to some chilly evenings heading into Sunday and next week. A lot of sunshine to start off next week for us, and then shower chances again heading towards the end of next week. But we've been on a bit of a temperature roller coaster, and that doesn't seem to be wrapping up for us as we head into this weekend. A little warmer, and then a little cooler, and then we steadily warm back up a little bit.
I didn't know duck hunting season started.
It did. You're welcome. I believe it's goose season also. Bow season was...
Your fiancé is in all of
may
this.
be engaged to a hunter. Yeah.
I'm not, but I try to keep up with it, especially since many of our viewers are asking at 5 o'clock in the morning at sunrise, what is going on outside, because we need to know what the animals are doing, what we need to dress up. So,
what is your fiance's name?
Jared.
Jared, thank you for
the he keeps me in the loop. It's for you guys, really.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you, Jared.
Thanks, Dana.
A new national study shows nearly 3/4 of American workers are showing up on the job tired.
And they're making some costly mistakes because of it. Hillary Lane has the story from New York.
In the city that never sleeps.
Do you ever feel tired at work?
I do. Most workers say they're worn out and drained.
I'm currently working and going to school full time, so I'm tired.
And they're not alone. New research by the staffing firm Accountemps shows roughly 74% of U.S. workers operate while tired. It's an issue costing the nation's economy as much as $411 billion a year. HR professional Angelique Malloy says when she's tired, she's more likely to miss important details.
My eyes are tired, especially like looking at the screen and stuff.
Nashville tops the list as the city with the sleepiest professionals, followed by Austin, Denver, and Indianapolis. While workers in those places may be dragging the most, Accountemps' Richard Deasing says it's a nationwide issue.
The continued workload that individuals have or workers have, the stress that's associated with it, has a lot to do with lack of sleep because they tend to take work home.
But there are ways to show up rested. Deasing recommends asking someone like a manager for help before you burn out. Leave work at work so you can recharge for the next day, and don't bring gadgets like your phone or laptop to bed.
When you are employed, it's your personal brand at stake, and do everything possible to make sure that that brand is number one.
And the number one tip, get enough sleep. Hillary Lane, CBS News, New York.
Okay,
Get enough
more sleep. According to a new study, some of the mistakes professionals have made while tired on the job include deleting a project that took 2 months to put together.
Whoops, another common mistake was paying everyone twice.
I wouldn't mind that.
That's a good mistake.
There's more to come at 4. Potholes are taking on a whole new meaning.
When we come back, some officials are concerned about increased accidents in states that have legalized marijuana. We'll have more on that as Live at 4 continues. A beautiful shot. That's a way to spend a Thursday afternoon, doing a little sailing on Lake Mendota on a sunny day. Marijuana is now legal for recreational use in 9 states and the District of Columbia.
But new research shows that could be leading to more accidents on the road.
Last year, family, friends, and law enforcement in the San Francisco area buried California Highway Patrol Officer Andrew Camilleri. He was killed on Christmas Eve when a car slammed into his cruiser. Police believe the driver was under the influence of alcohol and marijuana. A few days later, pot became legal for recreational use in California. Authorities tracking accidents in the San Francisco Bay Area predict there will be a 142% jump in the number of traffic collisions involving drivers under the influence of marijuana by the end of the year. And now the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety is releasing a new report on vehicle accidents in the first states to legalize the drug.
The evidence is showing us at this point is that we're seeing an increase in crash risk associated with the legalization of marijuana.
The IIHS looked at Colorado, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington. They found the number of collision insurance claims rose as much as 6% in those states compared to neighboring states where marijuana is still illegal. Polls have shown many people don't believe marijuana impacts driving ability like alcohol, and it can be challenging for police to detect.
The difficulty is unlike alcohol, where you can actually measure a blood alcohol concentration level, you can't do that currently with marijuana.
Police departments are now training officers to better recognize drivers who are high. And several states are testing new devices like saliva swabs that can identify drugs in the system. In New York, Hillary Lane for WISC News 3.
And another study found 14% of drivers pulled over for being under the influence of pot had a child in the car.
Serious situation.
Yeah, it is. Well, the highly anticipated sequel to the Netflix series Making a Murderer premieres tomorrow.
When we come back, we'll hear from the 2 filmmakers about part 2 of the series and what you should expect when Live at 4 continues.
overall, looking pretty smooth on the roads right now. Thankfully, no rain to be concerned about as you're hitting the roads, and it won't be too slick. A little slow on the Beltline. We still have that car on 12 and 18 eastbound, just after the exit to Rimrock Road. Right now, it sounds like it's on the shoulder, so it shouldn't be blocking any traffic. The same goes with that incident on 19 westbound at 39 on the shoulder right now. Downtown, rolling along at the usual speed. Beltline, if you're trying to travel east or westbound, a little slower. Eastbound speeds right now 22 miles per hour, and then 27 a little closer to Fish Hatchery Road, but overall hovering in the 20s, low 30s for some isolated spots. For Verona, we're seeing slowdowns heading down Main Street and also down 151, but no delays, no major delays or accidents there right now. Drive times seem pretty smooth. Again, still seeing green. If you're getting ready to head on the road, please drive safe, buckle up, and have a good ride.
All right, thank you, Dana. Burger King is releasing its Nightmare King next week, which will be available through November 1st. The spooky sandwich has a quarter pound of beef, a chicken fillet, American cheese, bacon, mayonnaise, and onions. It's topped off with a green sesame seed bun. Officials with Burger King say the sandwich is, quote, clinically proven to induce nightmares.
I'd like to see the research on that.
Yeah, the Nightmare King sells for $6.39.
That's a nightmare right there.
Yeah. Part 2 of the Netflix documentary series Making a Murderer premieres tomorrow.
Part 2 picks up with Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey's post-conviction legal fight. Viewers are also introduced to Avery's new high-profile attorney, Kathleen Zellner.
The filmmakers Laura Ricciardi and Moira Demos were on CBS this morning and were asked why they thought there should be a Part 2.
Well, we knew that both Stephen and Brendan, although they're serving life in prison, Stephen without the possibility of parole, Brendan will be eligible for parole in 2048 at the age of 59. They continue to maintain their innocence, and they're committed to fighting to free themselves and clear their names.
Were you planning to always do a part 2?
No, it's definitely something that evolved.
Yeah. How did it evolve? What did you see that you thought, okay, we need to keep going? Moira?
So, you know, when we leave off at the end of part 1, you know, Stephen himself is saying he's going to keep fighting. Brendan's team has actually just taken his case into the federal court system. And then soon after the launch of part 1, Stephen got a new advocate, Kathleen Zellner,
who has an incredible record.
She does. She's the winningest private post-conviction attorney in the United States. And so right there, it was clear, you know, the story really is not over. So as soon as we learned that and thought about this post-conviction phase of the process, which is really kind of a black hole to most people, like what exactly does that mean to appeal? What are the obstacles? What are the stakes? What are your chances? So we saw it as an opportunity to, you know, offer viewers something new.
Though, do you think about it as a documentary where you're trying to put things before people with no fingerprints of your own on it, or do you think of it as a storytelling exercise in which you're basically advocating for an argument?
I think the answer might be neither. You know, because documentary is not journalism, it is an art form, and you know, this is a narrative documentary. So we had chosen Stephen Avery as our main character, and we had chosen him because of his incredibly unique status as someone who had been failed by the system in the mid-'80s and now was stepping back into it. You know, and in that 20-year time span, you know, there had been advances in DNA, there had been legislative reforms, and there was a lot of talk about, you know,
because you said he had been falsely accused before.
And falsely imprisoned for 18 years. Yes. And so it was sort of an opportunity to hold a mirror up and to watch the investigation and the prosecution play out. And the question at hand was, how will he be treated as an accused?
One of the other criticisms, guys, was about the victim. We don't hear much in part 1 about Teresa Hallback. You know, a woman lost her life under still mysterious circumstances, some say. Is she addressed at all in part 2?
Absolutely. I mean,
do we hear from her family, or?
Well, both in part 1 and part 2, we invited the Hallbacks to participate, and in both instances they declined. And you know, I just want to say we absolutely understand that. I mean, they endured an unspeakable tragedy, and you know, I would imagine too that even participating could, you know, create more pain for them. So we understand that they declined. We respect that, and we. In light of that, I mean, regardless of whether they participated or not, our job was to tell the story in the most responsible way that we could. So we sought to include a range of voices. When the Hallbucks declined to participate, we used archival materials to show, the distress people were in when they thought that Teresa was in jeopardy, just when she was missing. There were volunteer searchers who set out to look for her.
Well, you had a lot of people talking after part one, and a lot more people I'm sure will be talking and watching part two. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
Thank you.
And Making a Murderer Part 2 debuts tomorrow on Netflix.
That's right.
And Jerry Buting, one of the original lawyers for Stephen Avery, will be here on Live at 4 next week.
Looking forward to that.
And we'll be right back with a final check of your forecast. Nice evening, but maybe had the kids a little rain gear in the morning.
Absolutely. So we're not looking at a total washout for the morning, but we are going to have a few isolated showers, just a slight chance for showers for us early tomorrow morning. Temperature-wise, we're going to hold pretty steady in the mid to low 40s overnight. We'll not be back close to freezing. Tomorrow afternoon, temps will be pretty similar to today, but then we have a big cool down as we head towards Saturday, of course, homecoming, and into next week. It'll be much chillier outside. So yes, just the shower chance really in the early morning.
Not a big flooding thing like we're used to.
No.
That's good. That's
Barely a few tenths of an inch, if that, for some isolated
All right.
areas.
Thank you, Dana.
Yep.
Thanks, Dana.
And tomorrow here on Live at 4, we'll have a preview of the first Gubita Trail debate between Scott Walker and Tony Evers.
And our Michael Bruno goes backstage for Verona Theater's production of Little Shop of Horrors. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. In today's Final Touch, we take you back to ancient Greece.
To a time that if you wanted to get somewhere in the water, you had to row. This noble-looking boat is being moved by muscle power alone. The Olympia is a replica of a ship used in the water 2,500 years ago. And despite questions over how useful it might be in modern-day warfare, this ship is actually part of Greece's working fleet, an experiment in nautical archaeology, if you will. The